So the core essence of Christianity is not a belief system, but a lifestyle. And the question becomes, how do we live out a lifestyle in such a way that we become a disciple who makes disciples? Well, in this video, we're gonna look at that and the role of our habits, our rhythms, in building that kind of lifestyle that can be duplicated into the life of others. Coming up. Hey guys, my name's Mark. Please subscribe to our channel so you get this content right there in your inbox and you don't miss a video. So in this video, I thought we would talk rhythms and habits. And you know, I bet many of you have got something that you are really passionate about, that you want to learn, you want to grow into, whether it is learning a language like Spanish, or whether it is learning a craft, or you want to become a doctor or a teacher, you want to grow into a profession. There's something in your life that you want to do, and you don't go about that haphazardly and just hope that things come together for you, right? You have a plan. You have some ways in which you are engaging in regularly growing and taking steps towards working that out in your life. Well, we do this, right? And there's what in different areas of our life, we want to learn something, we want to do something, we make space and we make practical steps on a plan to go there. But when it comes to following Jesus, we oftentimes just sit back and expect something to come to us. The reality is following Jesus is oftentimes highly practical. By practical, I mean the essence of what it means for something to be practical. By practicing certain things, we begin to build a lifestyle in which our life begins to look more and more like Jesus. This is what Christianity involves. We need simple structures in our lives and simple ways to engage with growing after Jesus day after day. One of the interesting things to me is to see habits in the life of Jesus. I want to look at the habit of prayer today. And we see this in several spots. It's interesting. In Luke chapter 5, Jesus, after doing lots of ministry and great crowds coming to him, it says this in verse 16, "But he would withdraw to desolate places to pray," indicating that it was a regular habit of Jesus's, that he would withdraw and pray. A similar passage in Mark chapter 1, it talks about this, that Jesus, he rose very early in the morning, and while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed. Now there's something we can learn here, not only about the fact that Jesus did have habits or rhythms to his life that built a lifestyle, that is key, but also the way in which he did it. See, I've learned in my own life that when I set aside physical, geographic places to build my habits, or I attach my habits or my rhythms to a certain part of my life, it helps that thing to grow. See, God created us as finite beings. He created us as physical beings tied to space and time, and we can actually capitalize on that, utilize that, and grow ourselves into a lifestyle of following him. For me, I don't know about you, but when I try to pray in an environment of my house, like say the bedroom or the living room, where I do lots of other things, where I sleep on the bed, where we hang out with friends in our living room, where we sometimes eat dinner, those kinds of things, it becomes distracting because there's so many other things that I'm used to doing in that space, it's hard for me to concentrate. I've found though that when I set aside a specific geographic space that is my prayer closet, and doesn't have to be physically a closet, it begins to work that muscle, to fire that engine, so that I begin to engage in prayer more consistently and more effectively. For me, and this is an idea that you can take and steal and use if you want, we have a university that is located directly a couple blocks from our house, and that is my prayer closet. Not a physical place, but it is walking the sidewalks of the university where I begin to pray and engage God. And I take this time as I'm walking to not only exercise, but to turn my heart towards the Lord. And I only do that when I'm walking there at the university. It becomes a space that is set aside for prayer. So part of building the rhythms and the habits of a lifestyle of following Jesus is following the model of Jesus. And he not only set aside regular times to pray, but he did it in specific locations that helped his heart to engage in a practical, routine way. So I want to challenge you. Where is a place in your life that you could begin to engage in the place of prayer regularly? And then as you begin to make disciples, how could you begin to help them get vision for where is a place in your life? And maybe it's as you drive, every time you get in the car, this is your prayer closet. Maybe it's showers, when you take a shower. It's easy to build a habit or a new part of our lifestyle by attaching it to something we're already doing. So if you already take showers every day, if you already brush your teeth every day, you already have a long commute, or you're in the car every day, begin to ask God, where could that be? And then set aside that time that you're already doing something to build a habit of prayer into your life. Some of you, as you begin to think about what it looks like to follow Jesus and building a lifestyle, could feel like this is religion, right? That Christianity is supposed to be highly relational with God, and that is true. But Dallas Willard is helpful here, a theologian who has this quote that he says that grace, the vehicle by which we follow Jesus, is not opposed to effort on our part, but it is opposed to earning. In other words, when we begin to work with God, when we begin to respond to Him in our lives, there's an effort involved. There's an aspect to which we begin to engage with Him day after day, regularly, in an effort-focused way. But this doesn't earn anything for us before God. So there's this deception around this idea of grace that if we begin to work as a part of our Christianity, that is opposed to what it looks like to follow Jesus, when the reality is God created us body, soul, and spirit so that we could engage our bodies and grow into becoming like Him in that process. So building rhythms into our life looks like beginning to engage with this finite human body that God has created us in, which is tied to a time, tied to a place. And really, this is the gift that God has given us, that by being tied to time and space and not being infinite like God is, we can grow to being like Him. And that is the greatest calling that we have as human beings. I hope that's been helpful. I want to continue this topic in a couple more videos in the future, but this is a way that we can not only engage in this in our own life, but begin to cast vision for our disciples and help them to cast vision for their disciples, for building habits, building rhythms into our life so that we can live out a lifestyle that duplicates far beyond us. Hope that's helpful. See you next time. Guys, I sure hope this has been helpful content, and if it has, please take a moment and subscribe to our channel and leave us a question, leave us a comment. We'd love to connect with you and talk with you more.